So something that I've been seeing a lot of people talking about right now is whether or not trans athletes should be able to compete against non-trans athletes. And I guess my biggest question is, why is this even a question? I mean, I don't even understand why gendered sports is a thing. Now, on one of my other videos before, I already talked about how I was a tomboy, and some of you guys might know I was in the military, and my choice in the military was a male-dominated rate. I was a gunner's mate in the United States Coast Guard, and I loved my job. I loved being able to shoot my guns. I loved being able to prove that, yes, a girl can do it. And, you know, when I was younger, in middle school and in high school, mostly middle school though, I competed against the boys. I wanted to be in baseball, not softball, because I have smaller hands and I didn't understand why you would give the big ball to the girls who had smaller hands. I don't know. It just didn't make any sense to me. And I didn't understand why I couldn't compete with the boys. And then there's also the fact that I wanted to play football and I wanted to play basketball and I wanted to do basically anything that you said that a girl couldn't do. And there was a very big competitive spirit. I, in middle school, also ran track. I was a terrible runner, just like I was terrible at sports, but it didn't matter because I enjoyed it so much. There was something about the camaraderie of it all that I just really enjoyed. And when I ran, I mean, we're talking complete shit. I think my best time for most of that was a 7-minute mile. So not really that good. I think I was 7 minutes and 20 something seconds. Terrible. But I wanted to be a cross-country runner like my dad was in high school, and that meant a lot to me. And I remember this one meet we went to, and there was nobody else competing in my division. But they weren't just going to give trophies out, so you had to actually run in order to win your medal, even though I had nobody else in my division. So what they did is they added me to the higher division. They added me to the varsity run. I wasn't on the varsity team, but I still ran against them. And I came in third, which shocked the shit out of me because I hit 6 minutes and 20 something seconds, my best time yet. And I had never before or after that ever do quite as well. Why? I don't know. My competitive spirit, the fact that I wasn't pacing like I normally did, and in fact that I got third place pretty much regardless of how many people was running is kind of telling. But I actually broke my 7-minute mile, which was amazing for me. And I think that is something, I think there's something to be said about when you put girls against girls only. There's a different dynamic than when you add men versus women. And I just don't see a benefit of splitting that up. And whether you want to make it so that if you can run a 5-minute mile, you would run against other people that can get about 5 minutes is one thing. But I don't see the benefit of tearing it by gender anymore. I think that our understanding of what gender is, and the fact that there are women that could blow dudes out of the water and vice versa, I think it should come down to ability. And I think that there is an argument out there of some people who were talking about that would make it so that nobody would want to watch women athletes. And I, to that, would say, fuck you very much. Because I don't think that that's true. I think that if a athlete is amazing, they will still want to watch them. And it's up to the reporters who are there on the ground to report on what and who, what's going on and who is the fastest, and in each division, who's doing the best. And if there's an up-and-coming female runner and they're breaking world records for being a female, then that should be reported. And if it's a trans athlete, then that should be reported. I don't understand why we still have gendered sports. I know that some people say it is to ensure that there is a focus on what, so that women and even trans athletes don't end up just being kind of sloughed off because they're not able to run a 3-minute mile. But I don't think that's the case. People want representation, and it's because of other female athletes and movies like G.I. Jane and things like that that inspire other women to give it a go and say, why not me? Why can't I do it? When I was in GMA school, no, excuse me, it was C school, there was a very large weapon that I had to crank on, and for one of the emergency processes, and I won't go too much into it, but it's basically to open up the breech so that you can so you can look in and make sure that there is not anything in it. And it's a very important part of operating this very large weapon. And I could not pass that class unless I could move this wheel. And this wheel had I don't remember the exact number, and I'm going to have to look it up, but I want to say at least 50 pounds of pressure holding it that you had to crank down on. And that was a lot for a girl that was at the time, maybe 100 pounds. And, but what did I do? I worked out and I pushed myself, and every day after class I would, okay, maybe not every day, but I would stay after and I would just practice cranking on that thing because I didn't want to be the one who could not do it. I didn't want it because it would be literally on me. And they weren't saying, you're a girl, you can't be a gunner's mate. They're saying, here, you can do it. All you have to do is crank this wheel. And you have to be able to lift up this barrel with another person that weighs over 100 pounds. So I worked out and I worked my ass off and I did it and I passed it. I think we need to stop these limitations because it's holding us back as a society. Stop it.